Namatu Ratanatayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha and Dhamma and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening. So today is Saturday, the 8th of August, 2020. And this is Achan Sujan from Warapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. So as usual, I'm here with you all. But today again, after a few weeks, I'm outside here with a beautiful view, the beautiful sunshine and very warm weather. And it won't last for maybe another 2 days. Yeah? And after 2 days again, we will be back into the rains and cold. So fortunately, so it's going to be another 2 days for a wonderful weather. Sadly, the city is closed because of the coronavirus. But however, I hope that people can go out and about with the social distance and all the measures that the government has announced. So keeping in mind, you can go around and have a lovely weather, enjoy this weather. Early this morning before the chanting, I saw 2 deers were just roaming around and playing in our garden, and it was so beautiful to watch and so nice. And even this evening after my afternoon teaching, I went for a walk, and again I saw 3 deer were just roaming around in our woodlands, and they didn't frightened. So it was nice to see them. And again today David came up and giving a hand, cutting the grass in the woodlands and in the garden, and J. Dave and his family came up clearing the potatoes now. So whoever comes to the center, you can dig your own potatoes and take away before it get damaged. Okay? So, and meanwhile, Chanpira is still working hard on installing the window. So he's preparing for the window. So so this is the wonderful and nice weather today. Yes, Yuan, I saw on your Facebook as well, nice lovely deers wandering, the same deer that I saw it. So both of us saw the same deer. So lovely to see and the deers around and the cows at the back of the center, and lovely. It's lovely to see all the different animals around. So this is our ongoing talk and reflection on different topics, but I've been focusing on the first discourse of the Buddha, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, and I've been giving reflections on that for a significant weeks now, and I'm on the second factors of the Eightfold Noble Path, and that is the Samma Sankappa, or having the right thought. And in the previous days, I was focusing on the first type of right thought, that is the thought of a renunciation or thought of a letting go. And the reason we cannot let go because of our greed and because of our attachment, the nature of clinging onto it, and the beauty or the benefit of letting go is basically freedom. And the whole horizon just opens up for us. And last night I just gave a brief or a background overview over the second thought, which is the abhyapada, or the non-ill will. And that's basically the practice of a metta. And this metta has been primal teachings of the Buddha. And this is the main part of the teachings of the Buddha in a way. Although we focus on different topics and different teachings, but the metta bhavana or the metta is the main key. In terms of the metta and harboring the ill will as two different things. I remember when I came to UK in 2005, I come across with a few unwelcoming gestures and unwelcoming unnice words as I walked along the streets, and that even got more when I was in Birmingham and we were going out for one of the it was in crew basically, and we were invited for the one of the shops. Shop owner wanted to do the blessing chanting, so we were there and we were having a photo session after the lunch, and there was a car came through, and then one of the boys just throw a beer can to us. That was one which was terrible. And another one was one of our fellow monk was hit by a bunch of boys in Liverpool, and that made him fear of traveling around alone, and which he stayed in a temple pretty much most of the time and never went out alone. And in 2011, when I came to Aberdeen, and I also faced similar things again and again, and somehow I didn't feel threatened. Somehow I only felt that they didn't know me and they didn't know Buddhist monk. So this is simply out of ignorance they are behaving in that way, and they have some form of probably a thought of invasion in their religion or in their culture, and that's the reason why they felt threatened or feel unhappy. And with that, I come across with like a face-to-face kind of kung fu fighting, and I come across with shoutings and different words being used, so many in a way nasty things happened. And yet my mind was always telling me that they didn't know me, and they didn't know Buddhist monks, they didn't know Buddhist culture, they didn't know what the Buddha taught. So this is simply out of ignorance they have created this ill will, and the creation, wanting to be cruel to to me, and probably to all the Buddhist monks, I would say. It happened like that. And along the way, what I thought that I should do was to be visible in the city, and which again every summer when the sunshine is like this, I simply wear a proper robe and just walk around in the city. Sometimes some people will say hi, hello, namaste, and other days no one speaks to me. And I had a thought that the very moment when someone speaks to me, I used to tell to myself that I got you, and that's how I stayed in the city of Aberdeen and gradually gained kind of a respect. Sometimes I sat down with the homeless people and talked to them, and gradually this resistance or this thought of ill will, I would say that faded away, and now after 9 years of being in Aberdeen, pretty much in Aberdeen people know about the Buddhist monks, and when Buddhist monks roam around, and people pretty much know that these are the Buddhist monks. And again, we do go for alms We do go for alms Tuesdays and Wednesdays in the city, so holding the bowl, and that's also a form of letting people know our visibility. So, and then later on had an opportunity to work with the NHS and even working in a city council and other organization, made significant visible of Buddhist monks, and I would say now Buddhist monks are a part of Aberdeen culture that anyone knows and everyone knows about it. So that's why this ill will is simply sometimes the thought of ill will or harming others or cruelty is simply not knowing what is, and on the basis of their own mindset, their basis of not wanting anyone to be part of it, and that sort of ill will creates. And all what we have to do is to knowing their ignorance, knowing their inability to understand, and all what we can do is to educate and let them know who we are, and let them know what it is right and what is not wrong, what is wrong. And this, in relation to that, there was a time that Buddha was blamed by so many people. If you read the first book of the Sutta Pitaka, the Digha Nikaya, you will find so many suttas, and even in Samyutta Nikaya as well, that people were blaming the Buddha, and telling the Buddhas off from different villages, cities. And there was one occasion that Buddha was, wherever Buddha went, a group of people just followed him and telling the Buddha off in different words, different nasty words. And having seen that, Venerable Ananda, who was the attendant of the Buddha, went to the Buddha and asked, "Venerable, my Lord, since the village, this city, people in the city doesn't want us, why should we stay in this city? Better we go to another city who welcome us." And in that, the Buddha simply said, "What if people in that city also tell you off similar way?" And then Ananda went on saying, moving to a new city, new village, new country, like that. So then the Buddha said, it is not how we escape. We shouldn't be escaping from these malicious words or ill will thoughts of others. We should clarify them that what is right and what is wrong. And if that is wrong, then we should clarify them that why Buddha Dhamma Sangha is not to be blamed of. And if they are saying which is true, then we should change our behaviors. So that is how Buddha instructed. Most importantly, we should share the loving kindness to all. Further on, Buddha said that suppose anyone comes and tell you off, and if you generate even the slightest hate in your mind and heart, then you haven't followed the teachings of the Buddha properly yet. Further on, Buddha said that if someone hits you, if someone amputate you, even if someone kills you, at that moment, if you have generated even the slightest hate towards that person, then you haven't practiced or you haven't understood the Buddha's teachings. So that's why in this instructions, what we can see that the metta or the loving kindness or non-harming being the primal part of the Buddha's teachings. He also even taught to his own son when after he became a monk that Rahula, you should cultivate loving kindness no matter which way, wherever you are. Cultivate loving kindness like the earth, that whoever throws things, whatever the bad things throws on earth never complains about them, complains about one who throw it away. The earth simply absorbs it out of compassion, out of kindness, and never complain about it. Similar to the water, air, and the fire. People will throw so many bad things, but these elements will never complain about it. So thus we have to cultivate this loving kindness. So this is again a beautiful teachings of the Buddha, and this is occur in Rahulawada Sutta. And I love this sutta a lot, because this sutta tells a lot about how to practice, say, anapanasati, and before practicing the breathing meditation, what should we do, and then before practicing this any meditation, we should practice this loving kindness meditation and relate to the four elements, and how four elements are linked to each other, and how these further on goes on, and then how to cultivate the mind into the absorption and up to the nibbana. So it's beautiful sutta the Buddha gave to his own son, the Venerable Rahula, at that time. And in relation to that, again, there is another sutta, and that's again I refer a lot. I even quoted that sutta for my master's dissertation in Aberdeen University, and that's a Punnowada Sutta. And in that sutta, the Venerable Punna was from Sunaparanta village, or a city, one of the very, kind of a bad city. The people were very nasty, people were unkind and horrible. So, but however, he had a faith on the Buddha's teachings, and he became the monk of that, a monk from there, and then he stayed with the Buddha and trained himself, and until he attained the enlightenment. And then after his enlightenment, he wished to go in his own city to spread the teachings of the Buddha, at least just to let them know, and which is not easy, and yet he went up to the Buddha and ask permission from the Buddha to go in that Sunaparanta. In that request, Buddha told him that, Punna, my son, the son basically in Buddhism, once you become a monk, you are a son of the Buddha. So that's called Sakaya Putta. So, son of the Buddha, like that. So that's why he referred to the Punna, my son, Punna. People in Sunaparanta are very nasty. They can be very violent, horrible. Would you be able to survive there? And then Punna simply said, they would not tell me off because I came from there. And then Buddha further said, what if they told you off? I say, they haven't hit me. What if they hit you? They haven't killed me. And then the Buddha further asked, what if they killed you? Now this is a long story short. This is, and then the Venerable Punna said, that's good. At least I don't have to suffer anymore in this 5 aggregate. And that moment, the Buddha said, okay, now you can go. That sort of metta that Punna had shown to the people of Sunaparanta, the horrible or nasty people. And the Buddha, when asked that, Buddha asked all these series of questions to him. Basically, the level of Venerable Punna's understanding, and how metta he had out of kindness, he wanted to go there, and that displays the understanding of the Buddha's teachings. And it reminds me my own spiritual father, who gave me this monk life, the higher monk, taking a higher ordination. In Buddhism, once a preceptor, once he gives you a precept and take you on board in the sasana and the Buddha, the monkhood, we take him as our spiritual father. So my spiritual father in Thailand, he is still alive. He's around 96 years old, and he's the abbot of Wat Pak Nam, where I was ordained as a monk and where I stayed, for almost 7-8 years. Recently, he was when the previous Supreme Patriarch, the Sangha was ill, and he wasn't working as a head of the Sangha community in Thailand. He was my spiritual father. He was acting as a Sangha, so he was acting Sangha, and so he was taking care of all the business of the Sangha for many years, almost 10 years. And after the Supreme Patriarch passed away, almost a year later, the Sangha Council appointed him to be the Supreme Patriarch. And when he was appointed by the the Sangha Council to be the Supreme Patriarch, there was so much debate, and for and against started. The whole nation in Thailand, there was debate going on. And meanwhile, someone has created the story that he smuggled one Rolls-Royce car. In fact, the story says that there are around, I think, 2,000 Rolls-Royces were smuggled to Thailand, and one of them was offered to him, and he kept it in a museum. And this became the primal story of a debate, and not allowing him to be the Sangha, the Supreme Patriarch. And then again, obviously, this is the king's decision who to be the Supreme Patriarch, or the Sangha, the head of the Sangha community in Thailand. And when the Sangha Council appointed him, he wasn't again he was just a nominee. He wasn't accepted by the king as the leader of the Sangha Council, the monks. And because of that debate, a king had to decide, and obviously this is an old tradition that king has rights to appoint who will be the Sangha, the head of the monks. So because of this debate going on, and the people, there were a particular monk or group of monks were very against with appointing him as the head of the Sangha Council, or the Sangha, the community of the monks. And then obviously king didn't want to have that debate, so king simply appointed very neutral monk, and then before he was appointed, the king appointed the neutral monk as the head of the Sangha Council or Sangha community, all the claims, or all the what's called the like Rolls-Royce smugglings were cleared from my spiritual father, and yet he wasn't appointed. And after he wasn't appointed, and another neutral monk was appointed as the Supreme Patriarch, or the head of the Sangha Council, Sangha community in Thailand, some newspapers went to speak an interview with my spiritual father, and they asked him that, so what would you do to someone who has created this case, and as a result you are not appointed? Would you like to go on trial? So would you like to take them to the trial case? And my spiritual teacher or father simply said, leave them alone. It's already done. It's happened now. It's already done. I am already old enough. I'm happy. This far I have done to the sasana, to the Buddhism. So now the king has appointed, and I don't need to worry anymore. And all the work that I have done is done. Those who have accused, those who have brought this case and all the story, so that's up to them. It's okay. And when I heard this, I felt so released. I feel so, I don't know how to express the greatness of his heart, the compassion that he had, the kindness that he had towards those group of monks who created the story, and he was so humble, and he never gave up his duty from going to the chantings and every evening, accepting the people for the audience. And in my own understanding and my experience tells me that among the 8 supreme venerable monks in Thailand, my spiritual father is the very easiest one to approach. And because he normally every evenings, if he hasn't got any other jobs to do outside of the temple, simply 6:30 or 7 o'clock, he will come to the information room where he has got the seat. He will just sit there and wait for people, and even people comes or not, he will just be sitting there for an hour or 2 hours. And during that time, there is no formalities, there is no appointment needed. If you see him there, off you go. You just go and pay respect and talk to him like a normal monk. Whereas other supreme monks that I found, you have to make an appointment, and you have to go through checkings, and like that. So this is again how my spiritual father overcome the malicious accusations and ill will for the power or for the gain or whatsoever. He was able to let it be, and those who were creating the stories, those who were causing the troubles, rather than he take them to the trial and then the court, he simply forgive them. And what a beautiful story, and I always kept this in my mind, that how great he was. And he's still alive. And last year I had an opportunity to visit him and speak with him for a couple of times. And again, I spoke with him about our center's activities and informed him about what we do, what we are doing, and what's going on, and it's like that. And he always been very kind to me, and saying, when I came to the UK in 2005, he even said to me, England is not an easy place to stay, and it's very hard. If you can't stay there, come back to stay here. That means in Bangkok. And I still remember those words. And then the same thing happened last year when I spoke with him. And he even still said the similar thing, that how is things and how hard it is. And then I mentioned about the difficulties here working in the UK and in Scotland, that there are no Buddhists, but still working hard, and people are coming and studying and getting benefited. And he said that if you feel very hard and difficult, you can leave and come back to stay in Wat Pak Nam. So how kind he was, and that's sort of a practice we have to develop from the teachings of the Buddha. And that's the second thought. The second right thought is basically not harboring any ill will or malicious thoughts towards anyone, not only to someone who has done something, but also to all the beings. So I end here for tonight for this talk, and thank you very much everyone for listening. With this, may you all be happy, stay safe, take care, and enjoy this night, enjoy this view, and with the blessings of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, may you all stay safe, healthy, and attain the Nibbana. With this, I end here. In a few moments' time, we will have a chanting and guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us, or see you tomorrow at same time. Thank you.